Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, and yesterday I watched a Dr. Oz that had the man Larry Olmsted on, and he was the one that I was referencing in the 9 flat belly foods that would help you, and he has the new book out, Real Food, Fake Food, and it was just funny to see him and get the visual. And he talked about salmon and farm-raised salmon and olive oil and Parmigiano Reggiano. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but what we think of as Parmesan cheese in our Americanized way by buying Kraft with all the C-R-A-P added to it versus buying the hunk of the Parmigiano. And he said the trick to that is seeing the outer edge, that wax part they put on, and it would be stamped continuously through. So you would see that it was real Parmigiano Reggiano cheese all the way through. And so that was kind of cool. And as far as olive oils, I was avoiding buying anything that wasn't California Ranch because they came out the purest with olive oil. But he says that Tunisia, which is what I was seeing on Italian olive oil, they import other oils and call it Italian olive oil, is really an up-and-coming oil producer, olive oil producer, not oil producer. And with the farm-raised, so many are now branding their farm-raised, and they interviewed a man that has 150 miles in from, he's in Alabama, 150 miles in from the water, the ocean, and he's doing it in all of these tanks, and they aren't fed antibiotics or any chemicals or anything. And how even some of those have higher omega-3s than the wild caught, which is interesting. And I know that they I heard that they dyed farm-raised salmon, and those are the ones that are raised in those tubs that are in the oceans, and it's just horrible. It's like feedlot beef, right? And so once they put their brand on it, and he said you can go to Monterey Bay, I think it's .com, and that will give you where you can purchase branded farm-raised salmon that in some cases is as healthy as the wild-caught and cheaper. And make sure your restaurants are doing the same too. If you're in a restaurant and they're having a salmon special, chances are. But he did say that Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, and he even said Target, aim for farm-raised branded salmon, which was a very interesting point. So I like all of that sort of stuff. And so his book is Real Food, Fake Food, and I was perseverating whether to hit the Kindle submit order for Amazon to get it. And then after seeing him, I just might do that. The Doritos Effect is another book, and he has that author on a lot too, mostly doing like franchise type things and discovering the nasties in each thing, like froyo isn't even yogurt, it's just all chemicals in a bag of powder. Ugh. So I think of Teen Mom, and she's starting her yogurt place. Yeah, I doubt it's organic, real Greek yogurt. Just saying. So anyway, here we are, and learning about the food and what to avoid, what to embrace. And Dr. Oz was totally impressed with the farm-raised branded parts of the salmon, as was I. I know that when we get our salmon at the fish market, it is beautiful. The color is gorgeous. I love that salmon color. It's the color of my bathroom. But you know that because you've been here, right? And it was $20 a pound. But a pound goes a long way for me and Greg with salmon. And usually when you see those perfect little salmon steaks sitting on a bed of something at a fancy restaurant, those are usually 5 ounces, maybe 6. So even that's less than a pound if you have 2 6-ounce salmon steaks that you plop on top of some wilted greens and pretend you're in a fancy-dancy restaurant. So that was kind of cool. I was so excited. It's like, Greg, come see. This is the guy, And he's like, He just like wants to be fed, wants it good, and grass fed. I aim for organic, and he's getting better at understanding all of this, although he can have his grains and sugars all the time. So anyway, one of my favorite words is how I would feel when I used to overeat. And that word is wretched. Oh, that word, I don't know why, but it just describes how I feel when I imbibe in things I'm not supposed to imbibe in. Now, I've been grain-free and sugar-free for a couple of months past a year. And so I'm pretty fat adapted and I'm not triggered. I had mentioned to somebody that I went into a bakery, and it's funny because Oprah put it on the map when she came here. And I went to the bakery on Saturday night with Greg. And it was my suggestion because he was all out of his stash. And I wasn't triggered. It was so bizarre to be there with every kind of pie imaginable. The chilled kind, and then you could buy frozen ones, and then all kinds of pastries. I mean, it was, and even though it was Saturday evening, it was all of the shelves in the bakery cases were plump full of all of those sugar, grainy, fatty items that I used to snort to get high, and I wasn't as triggered as I thought. I said, okay, I can do this like a social experiment and see how I feel entering there. There was no wafting of smells that captured me. It's just funny. I was more surprised than you'll ever know that it just didn't happen to me. I had just eaten the steak. We had the steak on the big green egg and all of the roasted veggies, the asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower. And so I guess I must have been satisfied and with the good stuff. So today, there have been a couple of times when I've felt wretched since I've been grain-free and sugar-free. And that's been when I feel that I've overeaten the veggies. And I can easily do that. They taste so delicious with butter and coconut oil on them. And, sometimes I feel I could just eat, a heaping bowl of Brussels sprouts like this. And so I have felt wretched since I've made this adaptation to being fat-fueled. And, but not like how I used to feel. That wretched feeling, that just humiliated once again, that I let Ms. Slick, my addict, take over and just dictate what the deal was, how it would turn out, and that, convincing me all the way that I could do this, I was still going to be safe, I could hop back on whatever food plan wagon I was on, and it was just horrible. And I don't like feeling wretched, even though I like the word. I love waking up knowing that the day before was clean and abstinent in my food plan. No matter what your food plan is, it doesn't matter. It's being clean and abstinent in it. And then I was the same way the day before. And how good does that feel when you begin to string just clean and abstinent days, one after the other after the other? And sometimes I can go back in my Lose It tracker and I can see that a day that I had was ideal calories. It was ideal mealing. The different meals were, there's only two, worked. They satisfied me. One from lunch to dinner, and it's that 5-hour window that is when my hungry horrors start, and has nothing to do with my stomach being empty. It has to do with me being bored, restless, irritable, discontent, all of those sort of things. And I let the addict, Ms. Slick, enter in and say, oh, I've got one of those opportunities. I can get something in me that's going to be naughty, a no-no, because she's weak and I can work on her. Let me present something like, say, a donation at my job, at the shelter, And in comes, cartons and cartons and cartons of bakery items, right? And in those, guaranteed, you will find something that if you no longer have grains and sugar, there will be one of them there. And so, I have to be ever so vigilant. And what I discovered was in that my first meal, what works best for me is high fat and very, very, very low carb. Sometimes I was having some veggies with my first meal of the day, which is usually 10:30 to 11. And what works best for me now is to have no, like spinach, mushroom, olive omelet, just to have another greenie, just to have the egg, the cheese, the bacon, or the yogurt with the 2 nut butters nestled on either side of it. And those 2 meals seem to work the best for me. I'm still having 2 ounces of organic berries, though. And then I have a midday bulletproof coffee, too. So, and then at dinner time, I guess I do what they say, refeeding, carbing up, whatever they call it. All I know is that I either have a salad and something else like a cup of butternut squash soup. So there's like a couple of different options. And my big Fiesta pasta bowl filled with vegetables with lots of coconut oil and Kerrygold butter on it. So like tonight will be crack slaw. I can't wait. So I've already made it. And so I'll be having crack slaw with my Fiesta pasta bowl full of veggies. And it will be a cup of organic green beans, a cup of organic broccoli, and those miniature Brussels sprouts that I got as we did our meandering Sunday drive, and 1 cup of cauliflower crumbles. And then I add to that a tablespoon of coconut oil and a tablespoon of Kerrygold butter. And so that will be my dinner. And I can't wait. Yes, it's tons of veggies. No, it doesn't bother my stomach. No, it doesn't trigger me to want to have grain carbs. These are unrefined carbs. So that means they're a vegetable. And so a day like today is about 50 grams of carbs after I subtract the fiber. And yes, I do net carbs, even though some say, no, you have to do the whole thing. Well, if I did the whole thing, okay, it's 69 carbs. So that doesn't bother me. What would bother me if I was slipping in a piece of sourdough bread, a ciabatta roll, maybe some pasta, all of those sort of things. Those are all no-nos for me right now. And that's okay, because I love being fat adapted. And I always find a way to feel satisfied with my veggies, with my grass-fed meat, and that's grass-fed burger in the crack slaw, and it's an organic cabbage. And I just love my food plan. It keeps me satisfied, and I hope that you have a love of whatever food plan you're on, and it's satisfying, and you're not jonesing, and you're not thinking about the next meal, and you're not saying, I'm going to have it an hour earlier because I'm so hungry. I want you to be satisfied with whatever it is that you're doing that's giving you the results that makes you feel okay. And I know you know what I'm talking about. That satisfied feeling where you're not letting your addict take over. Mine is Ms. Slick, and I've been with her all my life, and I know how she operates, and I have to cut her off at the pass. And so, with that being said, don't eat the things that you're not supposed to on your food plan that make you feel wretched. You don't want to feel wretched. You want to be satiated. Oh, it's a divine place to be. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food. Bye-bye for now.